What will a long overdue family reunion mean for Shang-Chi? Will it give him peace of mind, or will it open up a whole new world of problems to him? Well, let's hop into the pages of Shang-Chi issue number 2 and find out together, shall we? So then, at the end of the previous issue, we discovered that Shang-Chi actually had himself a long-lost half-sister. Her name is Shi-Hyu, and we actually get a little flashback to them as kids. It would seem that when he was denied his favorite dessert, crystal cakes, by his father's servants, Shang opted to go on a little exploratory mission across his father's Hunan base. This meant his poor little sister ended up getting roped into this quest too, going to a part of the building they were told never to go to. I really appreciate that Jean Luen Yang here goes out of his way to show that little Shang was a bit of a jerk. It makes sense, given what a massive psychopath Shang-Chi was, that his son would end up being such a spoiled little brat in and of his own right. Together, the two accidentally end up stumbling upon one of Chu's laboratories. And before the two siblings can even truly appreciate the horrors therein, Chu comes to punish them. Shang, again showing that he's maybe not all bad all the time, doesn't want his little sister to be punished for what he did. So instead of an untimely death, she's only sent away. Of course, young Shang-Chi wasn't quite sure what sent away meant at that age. He just assumed that his father killed her because, well, that's what he does. In fact, we actually see Shang-Chi try and relate to his son in a rather interesting way, saying that when he was growing up, he had a sibling too that he loved dearly, but he had to cast them aside to become the true powerhouse that he is now, and that those destined for greatness cannot be held back by simple familial entanglements. Remember this, because this is actually going to be very important later on. Shi-Hyu would be sent to Russia, where she would be raised by the School of the Deadly Hammer, and in time end up becoming their leader, Sister Hammer. Shang, along with the help of his MI6 partner Wu, have decided to make their way into Russian airspace, and I must say I like the Arctic redesign for Shang-Chi's costume. It's pretty slick. Shang ultimately also ends up making very short work of the Hammer School henchmen. When he discovers that these guys have actually been training their whole life, he says that maybe they should take up another line of work, like, oh, baking, that's pretty fulfilling. When Shang ultimately does come face to face with Sister Hammer, you would expect a big Shaw Brothers action scene to break out, but it doesn't. They actually embrace each other like the long-lost family they are. Why Hammer even invites Shang to dinner so they can catch up, and why, yes, they most certainly have crystal cakes for dessert. Sister Hammer tells Shang-Chi about how she was able to thrive in the Hammer School and eventually rise to the very top of the organization. The only problem is she still very much wants more. She had thought by proving her strength in killing Brother Bo, then the spirit of their father, Ching-Chu, would choose her to be the new master of the 5 schools. But no, somehow once again, even in death, Ching-Chu still manages to choose Shang-Chi over her. Even though Chang, as far as Sister Hammer is concerned, was their father's killer, actually it's a little bit more complicated than that, and we're even reminded to go back and check out the events of Secret Avengers number 10, where really it was more like Shang-Chi was falling apart anyway, and the temple they were all in just kinda collapsed on Chu anyway. Now, despite originally not seeming resentful at all for anything that happened in the past, it turns out Sister Hammer is actually secretly very resentful. She poisoned those crystal cakes knowing full well that they would be her brother's Achilles heel. Here's the rub though, it doesn't actually end up killing him, it just knocks him out for a little bit and then forces him to have some truly trippy hallucinations wherein he ends up seeing the other members of the Hammer School as Chinese vampires set to drink his blood. He also sees his own blood as stars, almost like the universe is bleeding out of him, and just as an extra little grim cherry on top of this cake, he also sees the skeletal ghost of his father Chu again. Ultimately, Shang-Chi ends up going in and out of consciousness and is only saved by Sister Dagger and the other deserters of the Deadly Weapon School that we saw in the previous issue. It seems that they're not quite ready to give up on Shang as their ultimate leader just yet. But seeing as they've already tried to kill him once, there's no promise that he's not going from the frying pan to the oven once again. And so that was Shang-Chi issue number 2, and once again, Jean Luen Yang manages to deliver one hell of a fun, breezy read. We get so many great callbacks to the great history of Shang-Chi, Secret Avenger, Shang-Chu, and all of this other kung fu stuff that has just been hanging out in the periphery of the Marvel Universe, and yet it's remixed and presented in such a way here that it feels honestly brand new. There also seems to be a real effort to move Shang-Chi into the modern era, right down to saying, yeah, you know, your father, he had a lot of names he went by, some of which were kind of racist and we're not going to use anymore for obvious reasons. Overall, I'd give this one a very positive 8.5 out of 10. Shang-Chi is quickly becoming one of my favorite new books at Marvel right now and will probably be on my end of the year list when we get to it.
Hey there everyone, it's your old pal Cave Jewel, and if you're seeing me right now, that means you watched to the end of the video, which I am very appreciative of. It really helps drive engagement and retention and all that other good YouTube stuff. So does liking and commenting. Wink wink. If you like my content too, you should check out my Patreon page. We just redid all the tiers, so there's a ton of great rewards. You can become a patron for as little as $1 a month, and well, it would just really help me out. It's never expected, but always appreciated. So until next time everyone, I've been Cape Joel, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.